What's up, everybody? My name is Terrell.
I'm Tierra Leanne.
And I'm Tawan.
And you're about to be Rewired. Today, as y'all know, we're going to get into the looks, the drip report. Drip, 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 drop. Okay? The memo about the jerseys, but since we're doing our topic today on athletes surrounding around mental health, they decided to wear their jerseys. So let us know what y'all was feeling this morning when y'all put that on.
Okay, so this is what I was thinking when I put my jersey on today. First off, I wanted to be in theme. I wanted to kind of be in character. I wanted to represent a cultural icon from my childhood, the 90s, you feel me?
Okay.
Allen Iverson, you know what I'm saying? You don't get no better than that. So AI was one of those cultural icons that went past the basketball court. He changed the way we look at basketball. He changed the way we perceive basketball players. We actually got a chance to see the way he acts off the court, right? So not only did he change the way people was playing on the court, he had people wearing jerseys and cornrows and tattoos and stuff in the early 90s when it was kind of taboo to do that. So it's a really, he rewired the NBA. You feel me?
Okay. And as for me, I'm just going for the little schoolgirl anchor reporter look today because I don't really have a favorite team yet. I'm still straddling the fence about that. Let's get into it. Today we are talking about a subject that has been a worldwide hot topic, trending topic. A lot of athletes and entertainers in today's world have been suffering from mental health illness or mental health disorders. So we just want to pick this topic to talk about. What do you have to say about this whole thing with athletes and mental health?
Man, where do I start? Man, this is one of those topics that really hit home for me because sports, athletics, and mental health is probably the two things that I have spent the majority of my life dedicating myself to. You know what I'm saying? I've been playing sports ever since I was maybe 4. You know what I'm saying? And this mental health thing is my life's work. It's not a hobby. It's not a hustle. It's not a, this is what I do. This is my career, not my job now. So both of these topics and the way they kind of go hand in hand, to me, is my whole existence.
Definitely. And for me, I feel like both of these things are so similar. You know what I'm saying? Like the mental health aspect versus the physical health aspect that most athletes have down pat. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like it's a good way to get people to understand the mental health aspect because athletes, they kind of understand the physical health aspect already. So if you can understand the physical health, it can maybe transition into the mental health.
Right, because they go hand in hand.
You gotta sneak the mental health on people.
Just like I was telling y'all, I wanted to talk about athletes. I wanted to talk about celebrities because that's my population that I focus on. I want to start focusing more, even as a therapist, on the celebrity population because I feel like as influencers, they have a lot of shine right now in the media. They have a lot of leadership right now in the media, and I feel like as long as they take care of themselves mentally and they're in a good mental place, it can help the world become a better place because a lot of people look up to celebrities, a lot of people look up to athletes. So yeah, I'm real passionate about that. I want to get into Naomi Osaka. As y'all know, she's been in the media a lot about her struggles with mental health and her taking her break, and a lot of people had a lot to say about that. But when I did my research today and I was just looking at her videos and her interviews, I could kind of see in a way why the noise and the confusion and stuff transpired. First of all, a lot of celebrities and a lot of athletes, they suffer from social anxiety. I noticed that they are starting to break the stigma and become more vocal about it, which is great. And you have to think about it. When you are an athlete, no one is there to really coach you through the outside parts of being an athlete. Like, for instance, if we just walk out this room right now and we're therapists, we're professionals, and it's just a bunch of cameras and they interviewing us as soon as we walk out, would you be ready for that?
Probably not.
Exactly. So
I would.
I probably would do better
No,
than some
okay.
of the folks
Y'all-
that get interviewed,
but
I wouldn't be.
No,
either
ready
way,
to
y'all would be kind of caught off guard. You
Yeah,
get what I'm
true
saying?
that,
So
true
it's the
that.
lack of training with a lot of these interviews that they have, and they experience anxiety like any other human being. So me just looking at that, I feel like, yes, as an athlete, you should know exactly what your trigger points are. You should know exactly when to take a break. I'm not against her saying, okay, I need this moment and I need this time respectfully for myself to get my mind together, because it looked to me like her agent was saying that she was being bullied, and the interviewers was kind of like catching her off guard, which that was a point. But at the same time, I feel like as athletes, you have to know when is your breaking point, and you have to communicate with your team, because it's a team of people around you that's supposed to make sure that you're good and you're straight. So if you're not communicating that on a daily basis or a weekly basis, then they won't know. So my whole thing about it is preventative plans. I feel like the athletes in the industry, they need to have a preventative plan in place for them to specifically talk to a therapist or specifically talk to someone that can help them stay at a level head.
Cool. So I think just like what you were saying, a preventative approach. If we looked at mental health as seriously as we take physical health,
Exactly.
especially for athletes and entertainers, we would already have things in place
Exactly.
to attend to mental health crisis and to maintain the mental health stability the same way as we do for the physical health. For instance, if an athlete, especially an Olympic level athlete or somebody that is a professional athlete, have any type of physical ailment, it's somebody on hand to take care of that.
Right.
But we don't have those resources already in place for mental health challenges. We want to react to them after they happen.
Right.
Well, I think one thing that will help us to understand the mental health of an athlete is to understand some of the common things that they deal with. You know what I'm saying? Like, one of the things that's huge is identity crisis. So once you get in a position and you have achieved a success in a sport, then you kind of identify yourself as only an athlete. Like, if somebody asks who you are, you say, I'm such and such, I play for such and such. But outside of that, you're a father, you're a friend, you're a church
you might be
member.
an entrepreneur.
You might be an
anything.
entrepreneur, but that person only identifies themselves as an athlete. So once that's gone, then the identity crisis starts. Like, who am I? What do I do?
Yes.
Exactly.
Like-
And then on top of that, like, just think of the actual nature of a athlete or entertainer. A lot of times they are programmed to think that my value to the world is how well I can take care of and entertain
Right.
others. It's not really a popular thought process to think, how am I maintaining and taking care of myself in the process?
That's
So I think, when you are in, I had a thought as I was talking about that shut up and dribble thing. Have you heard anything about that?
No.
Somebody, I can't remember what reporter it was, but told LeBron James to shut up and dribble because he was so actively involved in the other stuff outside of his sport, right?
Right.
So she was pretty much like, bro, like, this is pretty much what you do. Stay in your lane. Stop trying to be an activist and a politician. Just shoot the ball and dribble
I think
the ball.
that's what's really driving our celebrities crazy, because you're sitting here trying to put a person in this box And I think the most devastating thing you could do to a person that's a creator or that's skilled, that has talent, is box them in. Because you have a lot of, I see it all the time. I see athletes, they're rappers. You have a lot of rappers that's singers. You have a lot of singers that's actors. You have a lot of, you know what I'm saying, actors that's entrepreneurs. So it's like when you see them, you cannot box them in just one box. You know, as people standing on the outside, we have to start being a little bit more considerate to people and know that they are human, like I said, for one, and that they're not just what you see on the TV screen. You know, it's a lot of times where they, like I said.
Here I come, y'all. I'm about to do what I do.
Play
What
devil's
is that?
Play
advocate.
devil's advocate.
Oh goodness, no.
I don't know if y'all know this, but I like to play devil's advocate.
What?
So, on this vein of mental health and giving our athletes and our entertainers, giving them the opportunity to focus on their mental health, I feel like it's creating excuses for certain people. I feel like certain people lean on the mental health aspect and say, hey, I gotta take a mental health week. Or I gotta take a mental health 2 weeks.
Think so.
I see it all the time. I don't want to name no names, but there's one dude in the NBA, I'm not gonna call his name out, but he continues to take these mental health breaks for weeks at a time. And my thing is, Kyrie Irving.
Okay, say the name. Okay.
Anyway, it's Kyrie. Anyway,
Your boy Kyrie.
Are you taking them mental health breaks, Kyrie?
Kyrie came into the bubble for 2 weeks and left talking about he needs a mental break. After 2 weeks, bro, you had a whole off season. So my thing is, when we milk the mental health thing, when we use the mental health diagnoses as an excuse not to perform up to what you signed up for, it kind of takes away from the credibility of the real diagnosis, because depression is a real thing. Anxiety is a real thing. You don't have to play it up. You don't have to reach. You don't have to make it seem like something is not because you want a break. Because at the end of the day, we all have a job to do. I can't show up to my job and say I need 2 weeks for a mental break. That's where the proactive comes in.
You can, though.
I can't.
Why can't you?
Because I need to be taking care of my mental health weekly, daily.
Okay.
I can't just show up when I'm in crisis and say, hey, I'm in crisis. I need a whole month off. Because they're going to say, hey, I'm going to find somebody who's not in crisis who don't need a whole month off.
And like I said, I'm not saying that you can't do that, because you can do whatever you want to do. But at the same time, if you feel like in this moment, no one can tell you how you feel. In this moment, if you're working or if you're rapping, if you're singing, if you're playing ball, football, whatever, if you feel that mental breakdown is on its way and you feel like, okay, this is too much, I cannot take this and I cannot control this, and you call and you let, you know, whoever your team is, you hit them up and you say, okay, this has been a lot, this has been a long week for me, I'm stressed out, I don't even know if I can handle this. I feel like it's not nothing wrong with that. But like you said, you cannot milk the system. You cannot not perform and, you know, leave your team hanging. But at the same time, that's the whole purpose of mental health. When you think of mental health, you're thinking of self-care. So obviously, if a person is saying this is a crisis for me, they need a little time to themselves. It's been plenty of times where you're dealing with a lot of heat and you're dealing with a lot of problems surrounded by your team or surrounded by your work or whatever profession you in or industry you're in, and you just need that break. You just need that one day. I'm not saying do it for a whole week, do it for a whole month, but it's all, and that's what I wanted to talk about. That was one of my key points. Balance, people. Balance is the main thing that I feel like a lot of people need. And once you master balance, a lot more will fall into place.
So I'm going to agree and disagree, because Kyrie. First off, let me give a shout out
Please talk
to
about
all
Kyrie, honey.
of the athletes, entertainers, anybody that's in the spotlight who's coming out and saying,
Right, that's
pay
hard.
attention to my mental health, because for one thing, it's not easy to be the only person going left when everybody else is going right. Think about the first person that said that the earth wasn't flat. The first person who said let's go to the moon. the first person who said black people should have the right to vote.
Right.
Yeah.
Every single pioneer was looked at crazy upside their head at first, right? So I want to give a shout out to all of the people who wasn't scared to be the first person. And I'm also taking a personal charge to bridge the gap between those who know and those who don't about mental health. And I think those who don't is a lot of those diehard sports fans who got the traditional ways of thinking about sports and entertainment. But I will say, when it comes to athletes, I think one of the things that we need to do as a general population is normalize mental health. If we normalize mental health, then we wouldn't have the communication breakdowns that Kyrie is a victim of. What his problem is, he don't know how to communicate his situation.
Exactly.
He don't want to give nobody no details. He just want to be gone one day and get mad when you ask him where he at. That's not how it work.
Yeah.
That's not how it
I don't
goes
really
at
know
work. Nobody's
the
job is
background
gonna let you just be gone and then don't answer no questions. But what you can do is go through the proper channels and ask for a leave of absence. And then once you ask for a leave of absence, it's either approved or denied. That's any job. So I disagree with you saying you can't do that, because you can. But you got to be prepared for the consequences. They might move on your ass. They might say, okay, cool, bro, like, we respect your situation, but we got a dire need right now. Put your resume back in 6 more months and we might rehire you. That's something that you have to live with. You know what I'm saying? So you can do it, but don't think that it's
You immune to the consequences of it.
I'm not saying that. See, I don't know anything about Kyrie. You know what I mean? And I don't know his personal situation. And none of us really know. You know what I'm saying? To us, and that's the thing about being in the spotlight and being a celebrity. People think they know your story, but they don't know. You only know what a person put out there. We're just here watching fans in the stands. We're not in the field. You get what I'm saying? People can be dealing with real life situations, but they choose for it to be private. It's a choice. So that's what I'm saying. If you're going off of one situation with one basketball player, I don't know about that. But like I said, Naomi Osaka, I respect that. I respect people like, who else is it? Brandon Marshall. You know what I'm saying? That's breaking the stigma. That's really serious. That, like, I think he deals with depression. He deals with schizophrenia. Yeah, he deals with a lot of stuff, and he's
Kevin
open
Love,
about that. I respect that.
DeMar DeRozan.
That's so. Anybody else that's
Williams.
playing these tricks, I don't know about that. But the people who are serious about showing up and being a face to mental health, I respect that, and I feel like if you need a break, it's okay to take one, because I'd rather you take a break, you show up at your best, than you show up and what if a fight break out? What if you show up and you just kill somebody? You know what I mean? Just because you so much at rage and you feel
Simone
like
Biles,
I can't handle this. You know what I mean? Simone Biles. We not even knowing this girl is facing sexual assault issues the whole time behind the scene. And you know, she come and say, oh, I need a break. But we looking at her like, oh, you can't give up. You need to run this race, girl. This whole time, this girl behind the scene going through all type of problems. So I say that to say, who is the voice for the people who we don't know about? That's all I'm saying. They need therapists. They need people that's in place that can, you know, go through these sacred moments, and they don't have to share it with the public, because I feel like that has a lot to do with people that's suffering in silence, that's going through these mental health issues, because they don't have nobody to talk to.
When you sign up to receive mental health services, you also sign a document that outlines confidentiality and the limits to confidentiality. And it don't matter if you are a celebrity, you're a regular Joe Schmo.
Yeah.
It's against the law for a therapist to share your information. You know what I'm saying? Unless it's for your own protection. You're about to hurt yourself or somebody else. So with that being said, celebrities, entertainers, regular people, you should not be concerned about your business getting out. That should not be the reason why you don't seek mental health.
I'm going to play devil's advocate one more time. My thing is this, though. True, and I agree with everything that's been said here, but it's a kid somewhere who showed up at that game just to see Kyrie. It's a kid somewhere who showed up at that tennis match just to see Naomi. It's a kid somewhere whose life and whose dreams is contingent on this person showing them, like, in person, what I do.
Okay,
but
let
you
me
done
ask you a
took a
question
mental
then.
health day.
So right
You done
now,
took a
if you
mental
tell
health
me,
week
if you call me
or
right
a
now and
mental
say,
health month.
T, I can't do Rewired. You know, I'm sick. I got a flat tire, and I say, well, Tawan, it's somebody it's a kid out in the lobby that's waiting on you, that's counting on you to show up for Rewired.
And I'm sure
What
that
you gonna do?
I would get some backlash if I showed up here. If I called you the day of and said I wasn't showing up.
You're
I
not
would
gonna be
get some
thinking about
backlash.
no
My
That's
thing
kids.
one
is
of my
this.
things that I
My thing
disagree
is
with him
this.
on therapy. Go ahead.
My thing is
Why?
this: to whom much is given, much is required.
But you wanna know something?
None of those athletes are ever complaining when they get that paycheck. The paycheck is based on your contract, and your contract is what you signed and what you said that you was gonna do. So if you don't uphold the contract, then you don't get the money. Nobody ain't never giving their money back. I ain't never seen nobody say, hey, you know what, I'm taking a mental health day, and here's the portion of the money from the time I'm going to miss.
Yes,
They
they
need to
do.
get
They don't
mental
have to
health.
say that. That pretty much how it is if you miss a game, you miss a game check.
Okay.
It don't matter why you missed the game, you're gonna miss that game check. So with that being said, if he doing that during practice and he coming to the game,
Right.
he has found a loophole in the system to where he can still get paid.
Exactly.
Right.
But what I'm
Like
Kawhi
Leonard.
Kawhi. But what I'm saying is, you don't necessarily have to deny your own physical, mental, and emotional well-being by not setting boundaries with people for fear that it's a kid out there somewhere that's looking for your services.
No.
I'll tell any client.
But you that type of therapist. You know
Yeah.
what I was about to say, Tawan? One thing I can say about you as a therapist, and I've known you since I've been here as a professional, you are the type of person, if I was to call you, I can honestly say, you might just be like, you know what, I'm coming.
and
I
I'm
can
gonna
say
say,
that.
you know what?
And
I'm
you
not
gonna be
coming.
saying I'm not.
Because here's-
Me, I might be running a little late. You know, might send a couple of dollars of toys or something. But you gonna show up, you ain't gonna get.
Nah,
I
because
just feel like you have a responsibility to the people you serve.
I respect that.
I feel like the
But
responsibility.
it's giving kids still understand your
Yes.
that can be going through the same thing, and you just let them know, like, hey, I'm feeling a little depressed today. It may be a kid out there that can relate to that.
That's what
you
I
know
was
what I'm
gonna
saying?
say.
Like, that's part of normalizing mental health. But we steady making excuses, or we're steady saying that's defeating the whole mental health purpose. If you're saying, well, still show up, no matter what you're going through, because you got this paycheck.
No.
That's why people are pulling their hairs out. That's why they are going crazy on people, because people like that. Well, so you got to get that check.
No, I mean,
It ain't
at
about
end
the
of
check. It's
day,
about your health.
pay attention to your mental health. All I'm saying is there are
Don't be
people who
reactionary.
are milking the system. Just because mental health is a hot button topic right now, and that people are jumping on the bandwagon right now, they like, okay, I see people jumping on the bandwagon. Let me go and get a 2-week break.
Man, I know a lot of people trying likes to have their pets with them, right?
Right.
Everywhere they
what
go?
Kind of pet?
Any
Is
pet.
it like
like a little
service dog or service?
Yeah, but that's what I'm
animal?
saying. Back in the day, it wasn't no such thing as a service dog.
Oh.
So if you wanted your dog to go everywhere with you, it was just a tough situation because that wasn't gonna happen. But now you can say this is a service dog, and you can take your dog wherever you
I'm
want.
thinking
Exactly,
about
like
this,
milking the
dog.
system, right?
Exactly.
I'm thinking
Milking the
about one of
system.
my clients that showed up with a service dog. It was a pit bull.
It was
Big
a
pit,
man,
a huge
it's
one,
not
and
gonna
it was
service nothing. Okay.
I had a client one
emotional
time that said they had an emotional support dog, and this mug was a pit bull at the office ready to kill everybody. Okay. Oh.
But see, the thing is, I think when we talk about athletes, entertainers, anybody that has, like my brother said, been given a lot, but also is required a lot, we have to, like Tierra said, rewire our thought process, take them off of the pedestal, and stop looking at them as people that don't suffer from the same stuff we suffer from.
They suffer from more. That's so funny. I was just looking at something on YouTube to where people who have not achieved a lot, who have not reached their potential, they see people who have achieved and say they don't have no problems, and I have all the problems.
Right.
But the people who are on the pedestal have way more problems that you would never even understand, because if you don't got no money, how you gonna have money problems? If you don't have no responsibilities, how you gonna be overwhelmed with responsibility? You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, I understand that to whom much is given, much is required. And I know that the people who are influencers, they deal with things that we don't necessarily see. But I do think it's those people who maximize that thing, you know what I mean, and just take it to a whole nother level. And when they do that, it takes away from the credibility of these issues that are real, that really need to be highlighted.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
I think, and just like we was talking about earlier, man, if we can get to the place as a society, especially within our community, where we looking at mental and physical health in an equal playing field.
Yeah.
For one thing, I think it will be less athletes and entertainers scared to seek help.
Exactly.
For fear of what it might look like. As a matter of fact, if you're a rapper, an entertainer, an athlete, or whatever, understand this. Being proactive about your mental and physical health and well-being is not a sign of weakness.
It's a sign of strength.
It's a sign of strength. It's quite the
It's
contrary.
courageous. I
Because
respect it. It's
health is
commendable.
wealth.
Health is wealth,
It
but
is.
also think about this. If everybody under God's son is an imperfect person, right? This person is proactive about the things that they struggle with, and this person brush everything under the rug.
Right.
Which one of those people is better off? Which one of them people is stronger? Which one of them people is more courageous?
The one that's handling it.
Exactly. And the thing that's sad within our community is that we have been told that good ideas are bad ideas, and we believe it. We don't take the time to sit around and think.
Do your own research.
If these was bad ideas, why is everybody doing it except for us?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Hello.
But
So-
the thing is, like, to understand why the people who achieve, they deal with mental health issues, because it makes sense to me. You know what I mean? Like, a person who achieves on a level outside of the norm, they normally an extremist. Like, they normally going to the max on everything. You know what I'm saying? Like, they putting a little bit more work in. They a little bit more dedicated. So at the end of the day, they probably are dealing with more performance anxiety. You know what I mean? They more of a perfectionist. They feel like things need to turn out a certain way. And they used to being the successful one, so all their peers are looking at them for advice.
Let's call it what it
for
is.
For financial help. You know what I mean?
Most people that are highly successful has a certain level of delusional thought processes. They have obsessive behaviors. You know what I'm saying? They are delusional from a unrealistic confidence.
Exactly. Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant was obsessed with basketball. Both
Definitely.
obsessed.
Didn't do nothing but shoot, dribble, and dunk.
And I look at it this, like, so many people I see, especially celebrities, especially as athletes, I see them in the gym, they bench pressing, bodies cut up, going to get surgery, snatched to the gods. You get what I'm saying? But it's like you're so focused on the external you that you forget about the internal you, and that's what really will get you way further than just your looks, because the looks can go away, but if you're mentally strong and you're mentally well put together, that's longevity. You know what I'm saying? That's when you really in your bag. So it's like the same effort and the same work that you put into looking good, you should be putting into feeling good, and not just faking it. Because a lot of people, I suffer from that too. I can admit to it, because I always say, I have a saying, fake it till you make it. Because you know, if you say you feeling good, and you could be feeling bad, but one day you really gonna start feeling good, because it is like a delusion thing. But at the same time, we really have to start paying attention. Same way you have people on your team that's saying, oh, you getting fat, you might want to work out a little bit. People need to say, ooh, you get a little delusional, you might want to go see
seeming a little depressed.
You seem a little depressed, or you know what I'm saying, you get a little snappy.
You know,
we need to have
crazy?
people put in place on our team or on y'all team that can be the voice of reason to somebody that's just not there to look at your appearance to make sure you sounding good, make sure you playing good, but who's there to really say, oh, do you got this mentally? You know what I'm saying? Are you still grieving over your grandparents passing away? Are you dealing with alcoholism? Are you going through addiction? You get what I'm saying? Somebody need to be there and be in place and be like, ooh, you need to slow down on these drugs, man.
Yeah,
or you
yeah.
need to, you know what I'm saying? Like, it need to be people in place, period, for that. I feel like you can really replace your designer with a therapist. You can replace your nutritious with a therapist. Like, we need to figure out and prioritize what really matters. And I feel like a lot of times in society we kind of shy away from that because it's such a huge stigma behind mental health.
You know,
and I'm loving the fact that a lot of these athletes, Kevin Love, Brandon Marshall, they coming out, and not even just athletes, there's a lot of celebrities that's talking about it. Keke Palmer, just a lot of people are just, Taraji P. Henson, they're touching on it, and I'm loving that.
You know what we need to do? We need to normalize the maintenance part of it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I've been getting a lot lately. If I say something about mental health, because I'm always trying to break down the stigma, somebody say, yeah, I saw a therapist about 3 years ago, man, got me right.
Mm-hmm.
What have you done for me lately? Like he said, let's think about it just like a physical health thing. So if you told somebody to get in shape and they told you they worked out 3 years ago, what would you say to them?
That's not good
workout
enough.
is gone, bro.
Right.
We need to work on a maintenance plan. Like you
Yeah.
need to have something in place weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, whenever you need it. But at the end of the day, if you're not constantly reinforcing and fine-tuning and sharpening those tools, those coping skills,
Mm-hmm.
then you
What
constantly
they say,
caught
use
off
it or
guard.
lose it.
And we're right now, that's where we come in. We rewiring that thing, because now you can see a therapist that look just like you, struggle
Like
with all
us.
the same things you struggle with. And also understand that you don't have to react to mental health. You can be proactive to mental health the same way you are with physical health. And I think we need to change, just like you were saying, we need to change the language within our community. Because like you said, I had told somebody, I was trying to think of a good way to say, hey man, you need to talk to somebody,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I said, well, maybe you might need some support. Have you ever thought about doing therapy?
Right.
They got offended. It was like, I'm not crazy. So but we need to understand that you don't have to be crazy to seek mental health. As a matter of fact, to me, it's crazier to not seek mental health. That's the person, to me, that
Bingo.
is kind of setting themselves up for, a fall, is the one that looks at it as something that's like a last resort. Like,
But
I
you
ain't
want to
tried
know
everything else.
where that comes from? It comes from being ignorant and the lack of resources and the lack of people around you that promotes it. Because if you come from a family or you come from a generation that they don't have a therapist, they gonna go off of, one thing I'm learning is just the generational rumors. That's what I call it. You know what I mean? That's just like us growing up and our families
that.
saying, oh, we are Democrats. We're not Republicans. The Republicans are not for the black people. We're just gonna grow up, and we're still rolling with that. We're not gonna do no research. We got kids. We're gonna tell them the same thing. Then they're gonna tell their kids the same thing. And before you know it, we create this whole, you know what I'm saying? This whole confusion, self-defeat, self-sabotage because
generational curses.
Definitely. I didn't want to say that, but it is what it is, And like I said, it's important to have people around you that are connected, that are in these positions to help people. Because if you never even hear about it, or you never talk to a person that had a therapist, you're gonna think, okay, I don't need that. Like the last time I checked, you had to be crazy to have a therapist. And that's not the case. So what we're doing right now, I just wanted to say this. If anybody out here watching this or listening to this and you are a celebrity, you are an athlete, or whoever, feel free to reach out to us. Follow us on YouTube. Our YouTube channel is Rewired Podcast _2020. Our Instagram is Rewired Podcast _. Reach out to any one of us if you're a male or female, and we can get you signed up for some therapy, because it's nothing wrong with it. And we're going to definitely rewire the thought of thinking that therapy is for crazy people, because guess what? We all got a little crazy in us, okay? So don't think like that. And we are here to help y'all, and that's the whole purpose of us putting together this show. So
Definitely. And if you was one of them people who thought that athletes, entertainers, and people that's in the public eye don't struggle with the same things you struggle with, look at this episode, and through this episode, you gonna get
Rewired.